Okay, everything's all set. Thank you, William. All right.
Just listen and understand where we coming from. Full grown, T-Town, felon. I need heaven, Lord help me find my crossroads. Harsh living temptations, please cleanse my soul. We live where government barely give us assistance. To this day it still don't have existence. For instance, me telling me owner of all company business. That's when they show hate and here start their bitterness. I take their bitterness and grant myself to have greatness. Realize I have a family to raise, don't have time to be careless. Make moves, strategize, I have a plan for my life. Please Lord don't let me die tonight. Please Lord help me to keep living right. Keep my head above water, front seat on this flight. On this flight, keep my head in the sky, floating on air. Wrestling enemies, winning with figure fours like a flare. Calling all black men to stand up, have patience. Heaven help us, keep me away from Satan. Just speaking from my conscience, thoughts of a man. Politics, my decisions, accepting the consequences of my plan. That's why I rhyme, living in my prime to get ahead one day at a time. That's why I rhyme, living in my prime to get ahead one day at a time. Feel me? One day at a time. Yeah, feel me? One day at a time. Heaven help me. Heaven help me. In these times in life, help me to keep living right. One day have a wife, make a change in my life. Not to be living trife. Heaven.
Good morning, people. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk TV. A lot of great things. Sorry for getting on the air a little late, but you know what? We want to thank the staff and management of the AOC Community Media for having us on today. Every day that we get a chance to do these shows is a special privilege, and we should all be thankful that we could get on the air in these times and talk about the things that are going to be affecting us. One of the major things that are affecting us, I'm gonna pull up this graphic right here, and we're gonna deal with these things today. Is burn it all down. The Louisiana is at the center of the conservative congressional redistricting battle. Today, I had a chance to tweet on the nationally syndicated show, the Carl Nelson Show, and talk about the players, the people who are behind this whole notion that Louisiana is in a situation where we have to defend the right to have someone representing us in Washington, D.C. But I want you to look up on this screen right here. Let me pull this one down and we'll get right to it. The major players, the people who are from Lafayette, where AOC originates from, where the University of Louisiana Lafayette originates from, where they have a lot of festivals. You just saw Festival International. Shout out to AOC for covering that. Where people get together, dance and party and celebrate. But you know what? This is great. This is good. This is good for economic. This is good for culture. But at the end of the day, these people are the most racist people you could ever see walk the face of the planet. I said that on the Carl Nelson Show today, and they read the tweet from me. You have Liz Morrell, Attorney General, Nancy Landry, Secretary of State, Kevin Roberts, the head of the Heritage Foundation, one of the main architects of Project 2025, and you have Jeff Landry, the governor. who want to roll back the clock, not just with the case in Louisiana. This case is going to affect every elected official in the United States who is black. Who is black, people? You hear that? So we got to pay attention to who our ops are. You know, you got young people out there, oh, my ops is this person, that person from the rival school from across town. No, your ops are these people right here. And you got to use that energy that you use in the streets and take that and apply that to go and register to vote, to participate, or to be the opposition voice if you don't want to vote, right? We understand what our brother Mr. Kevin be saying. But you also have to be the opposition to these racist people who want to roll back the clock. And I'm not mincing word. You're either with us or you're against us. What you want to see, Jeff Landry, you want to see black folks back in the sugarcane field? That's what you want to do? Maybe that's what you want. I mean, you don't have no logical explanation for what you are doing other than you're worrying about what's going on with the Caucasian race as far as the number of children being born or the number of people who are upwardly mobile in the state of Louisiana. That's what you're worried about. So what you're doing is pushing the agenda of the MAGA agenda. We have to be able to call these people out. We can't be like on these other stations, supposedly black-owned radio station that owned by corporate outlets who can't let the radio host speak about the real issues other than some mundane issues, and always lecturing black folks how they should feel and what they should do, but never criticizing the people that's oppressing us. So I'm gonna play this clip by our good brother Roland Martin. But again, people, know who your ops are. Feel free to call in if you don't agree with me, or if you agree with me, feel free to call in. But you need to know, in this day and age, who are your ops, who's working against you, to roll back everything that you people fought and died for. It's just plain and simple. So let me play this clip from Roland Martin.
I've warned you numerous times there's a massive case that will go before the Supreme Court on October 15th that could very well wipe out half of the Congressional Black Caucus. Folks, this is the most serious attack on the Voting Rights Act since that Shelby v. Holder case was settled more than a decade ago. Fair Fight Action and Black Voters Matter Fund, they released a new report explaining what's at stake in the Louisiana versus Callis case. Again, the Supreme Court are going to be rehearing arguments next week that center on Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, the central safeguard against racially discriminatory redistricting. Now I want you to keep in mind what we're talking about here. The Supreme Court has already ruled in this particular congressional seat that black voters were frankly screwed out of representation. They declared that the Louisiana maps were unconstitutional. They ruled against Louisiana. They had to create a second district. The folks in Louisiana elected Cleo Fields. Louisiana then said, oh, we want a second bite. In fact, they had multiple bites at the apple. It went to the Supreme Court. It went back. The Fifth Circuit is all these games they played. They kept losing everywhere. Then they said, let's attack this a different way. Now that Trump is in the White House, now you have these far-right legal theories about, how about we say no use of race in any redistricting? That could be the death knell. Latasha Brown, co-founder of Black Voters Matter, joins us right now. And Latasha, we tried to tell people, we always say hashtag, we tried to tell you during the election what's at stake. When all these Simple Simons out here were saying, oh, we survived him the first time, oh, tangibles, oh, it's not that bad. We kept saying, no, you don't understand what's going on. We have now seen how Chief Justice John Roberts, how they have been ruling, and Kavanaugh, and Alito, and Amy Coney Barrett, and we know, of course, Clarence Thomas, who despises black people. And so this case right here, the fact that they are rehearing this case a year after they've already settled the case should be scary to all of us who care about voting rights and civil rights.
You know, I think this is going to be the most significant possible It's the most significant voting rights case that we've seen since 2012, when there was a gutting of Section 5. The two things in the Voting Rights Act that actually made it powerful was Section 5, which was stripped earlier, that basically was a pre-clearance clause, that before you draw a district, you had to have a district, you had to get pre-clearance to do that. But the second piece that I think a lot of people, in terms of Section 2, what it does, it gives the right to draw, to gerrymander districts in such a way that Black voters have some input, some real influence over the outcome of it, so that we can get representation. In Louisiana, I don't know if people know this, but 1/3 of the population of Louisiana are Black people. That's 1/3 of the state, right? Yet we only had one, for years, we only had one congressional district, right? As you said earlier, Roland, it was because of the courts came back. It was so egregious that they told the state of Louisiana, look, y'all, we can't do this. You got to fix it. And as a result, they created the second district. Now there's a small group of folks that are coming back saying that for us to have fair representation, that in some way that's discriminating against white voters. We got to see what the line is. It's ironic that we're in this moment that the same court that says that it's okay to use race to racial profile, that ICE can use it to racial profile, but now we're looking at this case that really essentially will undermine Black, brown representation, particularly throughout the South, but around the nation. So I think people need to understand, look at this case. The fact that the Supreme Court is taking it up. You just made a ruling a year ago saying that it was egregious what happened. You made a ruling in Alabama, in the Alabama case, saying that in Alabama, more representation as Black people make up 25% of the state. So, but here we are in a heightened environment where we're seeing we're seeing racism be weaponized in all forms of the court system right now, and in society right now in this nation. And so this is a critical, I need Black folk, I need all people who really care about democracy to wake up and see really what's at stake here.
This case is not just about Louisiana, Latasha. Again, the net effect of this case could very well, on the low side, wipe out 20 CBC seats. It will impact also Latinos as well. It could mean half of the Congressional Black Caucus. There are 61 members of the CBC right now. The 18th congressional seat in Houston has not been filled with the death of Congressman Sylvester Turner. We're talking about potentially 20 to 30 Black members, those seats wiped out if the Supreme Court agrees with the folks challenging the Louisiana case.
It could be devastating for some. I apologize. I don't know if the connection is bad on my end or not.
It's going in and out, but go ahead. We hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It went in and out, but we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think I know what you said, but I'll just say that, people need to understand what is at stake here. This isn't about, we don't need to get caught up whether you like this party or this. Right now, what's at stake is power. That this is really a power grab. This is a grab that says that the majority of Black voters now actually live in the South. And so if this case, if the Supreme Court rules against and rules against us, and rules that to take out Section 2, what essentially that will do, as you just stated, Roland, it will strip Black and brown seats throughout the South, which actually will limit representation. But that just doesn't have implications in the South. That has implications on who will actually have power in the entire nation. So everybody should be paying attention to what is happening. This is a power grab. We have to raise our voices so that we can actually put the Supreme Court notice that we are paying attention to you. We're paying attention to this ruling, and we will not go quietly in the night. The South has something to say, and we will not be silenced. So there are a couple of things that people can do. One, we want to have people to sign a petition. We are circulating. We are standing to support of the Voting Rights Act. Leave the Voting Rights Act alone and make sure that our representation, that it's protected. And so they can sign the petition. You can find the petition on our website, Black Voters Matter Fund. Well, the second thing is they can also join us Next Wednesday, October 15th, at 10 a.m., the NAACP Legal Defense Fund is holding a rally on the Supreme Court. We need to show up in mass and in solidarity to say that we are watching, we are paying attention, and our voices should not be loud. So if you're interested in that, we're actually taking some buses up from the South. You can go to our website again, blackvotersmatterfund.org, and get information about that. And the thing is, I need people to understand that we have to fund our fight. That somebody has to pay for this. We've got to fight. And I ask you to donate to frontline groups. If you can't attend, at least support those groups that are fighting for us day in and day out. You can fund groups like Transformative Justice Coalition, support groups like the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, support Fair Black Voters Matter, even the Roland Martin Show, that we've got to really start using our money in such a way that we're supporting those that are on the front lines, that will bring us the truth, and that will help us really push back what we're seeing happen in this nation right now.
Again, you broke up there. So the rally that's going to be taking place, when is that?
The rally is on Wednesday, October 15th, at 10 a.m. in front of the Supreme Court, on the steps of the Supreme Court. Join us October the 15th. The Legal Defense Fund is hosting a rally at the Supreme Court on the steps. You can also join us. We're taking some buses up. So you can go to our website and find out more information about how you can join and be a part of our delegation, or just come and join us and stand up for voting rights.
I was speaking to the Louisiana State Conference, the NAACP, on Saturday in Baton Rouge, and they actually are plaintiffs in this callous lawsuit. And they're going to have folks who are from Louisiana coming up for the oral arguments, because those oral arguments are happening on that same day at the Supreme Court. So that's why folks are rallying outside of the Supreme Court.
You know, and I want to go back to the third thing that I asked, that I talked about funding our freedom, funding our fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people got to wake up. Do you know there's a thing called the Marble Freedom Trust? They are putting $1.6 billion behind this. They're funding conservative legal fights such as this. They're fights that they come up in the lab and it was like, listen, what are some ways that we can undermine, grab power, and marginalize voices? This is a part of that. And so the other side is fully funding fights like this Marble Freedom Trust. $1.6 billion. I'm asking people, $5, $10, $50, whatever denomination that you can afford and that you can give and put your spirit behind that we're saying we've got to stand together as a community and recognize that there are fights on all kinds of levels. We know that there's all kind of issue fights going on. But what we do know is that when there is a fight, you need to make sure that your front lines are taken care of. We need to make sure that we're able to fight to make sure that we always have representation, particularly in the South.
We've covered this on this show, Tasha and Latasha, trying to get people to understand. You're talking about this Marble Trust. What you had this rich Republican who gave, I mean, and frankly, he hasn't passed away. He's still here. He gave Leonard Leo this money, the $1.6 billion, to create this. And Leonard Leo, this is Leonard Leo right here. This is the man who ran the Federalist Society, who put the Supreme Court, these conservative Supreme Court justices on the court. And what they are trying to do with this money right here, you see here, this is in 2023 alone. This is the New York Times, a deep-pocketed nonprofit organization founded by the conservative activist Leonard Leo, gave away $182.7 million in a year's time. They were formed in 2020. The gift was $1.6 billion. It came from one person. That single donor's contribution of 100% of a company's shares before the company was sold. And so he gave Leonard Leo this money to spend any way he wants to. And what progressives have to understand in this battle, Latasha, is that these people are clear, and this is what I laid out earlier. And when I'm talking about in January, I said point blank, what these people want to do is they want to completely defund Black America. Robert Mercer, who funded Breitbart, and Breitbart when they were attacking black people left and right. Robert Mercer is quoted as saying that the decline of America, and I'm going to find the quote, he was saying that the decline of America began with the Civil Rights Act. That was a particular, he called it a major mistake, okay? Now, keep in mind, this is the same language, and people understand, this is the same language that Charlie Kirk was using. This is the same language that the right is using. So now, I need people who listen, watch it, understand, connect the dots. Why do they despise the Civil Rights Act? Because it's not just public accommodations for black people. It's the fact that these white folks could not discriminate in so many areas, even privately. Then you go to the Voting Rights Act. They despise that. Then you go to the Fair Housing Act. So people need to understand what their target goal is. Their target goal first is to destroy and eradicate the Voting Rights Act, because what that does is that completely decapitates black political power. Because I said, Latasha, that it could wipe up half of the CBC. But here's what people have to understand. The same Voting Rights Act is used for state rep seats.
That's right.
County commissioner seats, city council seats, school board seats. So you could see a complete political obliteration of black politics across the country if the Supreme Court rules in Louisiana's favor in this case. That's how dangerous. So that's the political piece. And so their goal is to do that. Then their goal is to go after the economic piece. They already took out affirmative action in universities. And so their strategy, every single thing that black people died for in 13 years of the Black Freedom Movement, they want to wipe out. And then they're also using the very civil rights laws born out of Reconstruction, the same Civil Rights Act of 1866, using that against us. So people need to stop. You know, I've been yelling and screaming. I'm like, y'all, we're out here bullshitting, and I love dancing, and I love having a good time, and boots on the ground. I'm like, yo, but these folks, they're playing for keeps because they want to solidify white power for the next 100 years because they know the demographics are changing.
Oh, absolutely. Part of the problem, Roland, you know, that's why I hate hearing folks say, well, you know, why are we voting because it don't count? Stop it, y'all. Like, stop it. That whole excuse is just tired. I'm like not even listening to that anymore because it's tired and it's untrue because we're in the space that we're in right now because people don't know what power and what power levers we have. Do I believe that voting is the only power? Absolutely not. But is it a form of power? You better believe it is, which is part of they're coming for three things, as you just stated. They're coming for our power, our political power, they're coming for our money, right? And they're coming for our humanity. What happened in Chicago, you got folks they're dropping down in Black Hawks, going and snatching folks out of their apartments. Don't think that you are safe, that can't happen to you. And we've got to always make sure that our front lines are covered. It is important who is in office that represents us. Why? Not only for them to fight back against that, but how do you think allocations are made? When money is being made at the table, I need to make sure that there's somebody at that table that is accountable to me or feels some sense of accountability to me to make sure that we're not completely left out. The writing is on the wall. We are seeing what is happening. We are seeing this consolidation of power, this attempt to consolidate power. And what can stop it? We can. People can. When people rise up, you can make a difference. That's why this isn't the moment, like you said. Like you said, Roland, I like to put boots on the ground, but we need some real boots on the ground. We need some folks on front lines recognizing how critical this moment is and understand that this is a transformative moment. This just can't be about transactions. We cannot let people come for us and we are not responding. We cannot let people come for us in our power and we're not organizing. You know, there's a Bible verse I was really thinking about everything around us is coming and giving this message of fear. Like everything around us wants us to be afraid and want us to be fearful and want us to feel powerless, right? And ultimately they're coming at us and want us to feel all of those things. And so I went to the scriptures because I'm a person from the Christian faith tradition. I went to the scriptures and there was a scripture that just stuck out to me. And it said, perfect love drives out all fear. We've got to actually center ourselves in perfect love. What does that mean? That means that we've got to center in love for our community, love for our families, love for ourselves, love for democracy, love for freedom. This ain't the moment just to have an opinion or just to say, oh, they're going to do what they want to do anyway. No, they don't do what they want to do anyway. They will do what you allow them to do. If you are not fighting, you are the problem. So all those folks, and I love to hear my niece would say it all the time. Ooh, I wouldn't have been able to do this in the civil rights movement. Whatever you're doing right now is what you would have been doing in the civil rights movement. It's what you would have been doing in slavery. What you would have been doing when our people were fighting for our lives. Ultimately, right now, this is not a game. This is not a drill. That ultimately there is a strategy to really unravel all of the gains that we've made, to have Black folks in a perpetual subservient position, for us not to have political power, for us not to have economic power, and for us not to have the right to be self-determined. We have to resist that with everything in us. This is the moment. This is the time.
Questions from the panel. Let me first go to Cameron.
Great to see you. One thing that I think that you just mentioned, that voting is the power, and people have to realize that their vote does matter. But kind of being in the streets, trying to get young people, trying to get Black people, trying to get people from the hoods to the neighborhoods in the suburbs to be able to let them know that their vote still does have power. But if this Section 2 of the voting rights is gutted, the power that one of the power levers that they still had, even if they weren't exercising, will be stripped away. How do we make the case to people who haven't been voting? Because there's so many people who stayed at home and on the couch, who, if they come to the ballots and they come to the polls this year and they come to the polls next year, it's one of our last chances to really fight back. How do we really encourage them to get out and vote, and not shame them, but encourage them?
One, thank you for that question. One, I think it's real quick, simple. We got to stop lying and tell the truth. And what do I mean by stop lying? I think over what we have done is that we have, over the years, to get people to vote, we do a couple of things. One, we got to scare you to death, right, and hope that you get mad and angry and understand how important it is. Or we tell you it's the end all, it's the be all, it's going to solve your problems. Many people have done that. And folks know that that's not true. The truth is that voting in itself is not all that we need. We can actually honestly say that. So when people are saying that they have some concern about that, there's some validity to that. We understand, many of us. I know that I've voted for people before and not got all the things that I wanted, or the things that, even some of the things that they promised me. I understand that, right? And so I think we have to validate when people are saying that instead of shaming them. We have to own that and own that this system is deeply flawed, right? But the truth part of it is that does it matter? Absolutely. There's not a single person that can say that it doesn't matter, or they've not done real work. Because if you've gone in a courtroom, have a certain judge, y'all know there's some judges that you don't want to go to before. There's some judges that you do. There's some DAs that can make the difference between the same exact charge, whether our people will get some parity, or if something as simple as having some cannabis will get thrown the book at, right? That it does make a difference. And we're sophisticated enough to know that it makes a difference. We got to stop, right, with not being truthful with each other, of saying that, yes, we understand the limitations and you are right. But the truth of the matter is, when a people are at war or being attacked, you have to use every tool available to you to protect your community. And that's what I think we have to be. We have to really root our answer in when we're talking to folks, and engage them in what they care about, and make that connection to what is it that you care about, and help them to actually be able to see. Right. Because oftentimes we're not making the connection points for them.
Well, also, we got to let them know you don't see nobody white telling white folks not to vote. It's only Simple Simon Negroes who yell and screaming on social media like, yeah, don't vote. That vote ain't gonna do nothing. Yeah, that's you, Umar Johnson, and the rest of y'all. But ain't it funny, the people who say voting don't matter, but when they are trying to get a school built, they got to go through the state government and the city government. That's all government. See, that's the other thing that I keep trying to tell folk, Latasha. These people who act like they are living a life where government has no role in their life is an absolute lie. There is nobody on this earth where government does not play a role in your life. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's city, county, state, federal, school. It does not matter. Government plays a role in the life of everybody, and you better be a participant in that government, or it will definitely deal with your ass accordingly.
No, it's like my take care of your business or your business will take care of you. The bottom line is it's not just in life, it's also in death. There's not a single aspect of our lives that is not impacted by public policy. Even if you have a family member or a loved one to die, in order to collect the life insurance, you got to get the death certificate. Someone actually governed that. Where you live is governed.
Yeah. The death certificate is a government. The death certificate is a government document.
Is a government document. There's no aspect of your life, not a single aspect of your life that is not impacted in some way by public policy, from where you live to how it's zoned to how much money you make at work to how much you can take out, they can take out of your check. So we got to really be honest that at the end of the day, yes, we may not be able to get everything that you want in this particular way. I understand that those limitations, but the truth of the matter is there are decisions being made about you, whether you agree with the process or not. And the process to actually that you have influence is electing folks. That's just the truth. Those are.
Yeah, people, we'll come back to this. That's Sister Latasha Brown of Black Voters Matter. Matter of fact, years ago, when we first started on 88.3 KIEE, we had her as a guest on the show. We had a chance to meet her when the Black Voters Matter bus rolled through Lafayette on the north side. A couple of years ago, we had a small interview with her also. So this sister is at the fight. Now, again, she made some sense in what she was saying concerning when people tell you don't vote as opposed to vote. The issue is to do something than not to do anything. Some would agree, some won't agree with this. Let me play this disclaimer right quick. Oh, okay, we'll come back to it. But again, some people agree, some people don't. We know there's some issues going on before the Supreme Court this week concerning voting right. And people, I don't know if people know about that. Let's see where we're gonna take this one out. Wait, let's see. Okay, let's put this one in. And let's connect this one right here. And let's see if we can get our disclaimer up and running. And let's see if we could get it.
Views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of AOC Community Media, Cox Cable, LUS Fiber, or any entities they represent. Thanks for listening.
Okay, people, we got our disclaimer up and running. Again, that's the views expressed about on this program and the callers, not necessarily of AOC Community Media, which we want to give them a big shout out. They always come through for us, and in these times, we have to have outlets to express our concerns and also to share information. And this is all about information sharing and also comment. And in a situation where we could move the people to understand what they're dealing with. I want to read this article right here in the Louisiana Illuminator. It's a great source of news and information for the state, progressive news, none of that News Nation bullshit, that KLFY TV, who's one of the companies owned by Nexstar, all of that stuff they put out, dumbing us down and keeping us in the dark. Everything is a boots on the ground, like she said. We want to. Roland said we want to dance and sing every weekend, but we don't. You know, you could do that, right? Because I produce an entertainment show called Digital Soul Showcase TV right here on this station. Also, it's good. It's great that we can do the boots on the ground, line dancing, and so forth. But we don't have any. If we don't have any information to be armed with to better understand what's coming at us, when then we're totally in the dark, and that's what they want us to do. You know, they want us to do, and that's why they can. Let's say I'm gonna put this up on the screen, full screen. They can have this thing right here. They could have the key players who emanate from this area. Liz Morrell, Attorney General, Nancy Landry, Secretary of State, Kevin Roberts. All of them went to Lafayette High, Lafayette High. And Jeff Landry, back of town, St. Martinville native. We could have these people who are running the board, running things, running the board with us. We don't understand. All we have is song and dance. We don't have no control over the politics, especially in this state that also is a major issue in the United States as far as it deals with race. Now, back to the article I want to read in the Louisiana Illuminator. The headlines read, "Burn it all down, Louisiana at the center of conservative congressional redistricting battle." And they, like it always, they use Louisiana as a test ground. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear new arguments Wednesday over Louisiana congressional maps. State Republican leaders now want to get rid of a majority black district they created, and the Supreme Court ruling could have national implications. Attorney General Liz Morrell, who I just showed you her picture, who attended Lafayette High, who from New Orleans, moved down here in Lafayette, attended school with Nancy Landry, the Secretary of State. And maybe, I don't know if they attended at the same time, Kevin Roberts, the architect of Project 2025. Attorney General Liz Morrell questioned key tenets of the Voting Rights Act of the 1965, a landmark federal law that has been amended multiple times over the decades to prohibit racial discrimination in elections. Watching closely are Republicans in other states who have pushed to withdraw their congressional district to improve their odds of holding on to the U.S. House seats and their majority status in the next year midterm election. In Louisiana versus Calais, we pronounce it Calais in southern Louisiana, justice could set a standard for the degree to which race can be considered when drawing the election maps. A group of non-black Louisiana voters filed the lawsuit after the state legislature, at the direction of Morrell and Governor Jeff Landry, told you back of town, St. Martinville always come true for the white supremacists, approved a U.S. House map in January 2024, with 2 out of 6 districts being majority black. A previous map, which the federal district judge rejected, had just 1 majority black seat in the state where black residents account for 1/3 of the population. See, we don't have no power, but we have power in singing and dancing. The governor and attorney general preferred lawmakers maintain control in the drawing new congressional district boundaries after the judge invalidated a previous version of and threatened to have her court draw the lines instead. The Supreme Court was originally expected to rule on the Calais case earlier this year, but in a rare move, justices punted their decision to their next term. They also posed new questions for parties to answer. Did the legislature creation of a second black district violate the 14th or 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution? The 14th Amendment in part covers representation in Congress, and the 15th Amendment prevents citizens from being denied the right to vote based on their race. Since then, Morrell has gone from supporting the map with 2 majority black districts to questioning the constitutionality of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which prohibits voting laws or procedures that purposely discriminate on the basis of race, color, or membership in a language minority group. You see, she got her marching orders from Donald Trump and the Project 2025 boys. Remember, Trump is the idiot, racist, corrupt idiot in the White House. In his condition, hands decaying, face decaying, he got all kind of pancake makeup on, and no morality. He keep talking to reporters and saying he wish he could get into heaven. Well, I would tell him, make reference to the South Park video segments that deals with him and the devil. You know, so maybe he's on to something. Maybe he know he want to get into hell, because you know where Hitler had the same premonitions too. Okay, going back to the article. In a brief filed with the Supreme Court, Morrell argued Section 2, as it had been applied to the Louisiana, is unconstitutional. Race-based redistricting under Section 2 is principally unconstitutional because it's inherently rests on a racial stereotype that all voters of a particular race must, by virtue of their membership in their racial class, think alike, share the same interests, and prefer the same political candidate, she wrote. Well, come on. I know I'm not going to be sharing the same idea of a Klansman. Come on, Liz Morrell. You know better than that. Okay, to bring a successful case under Section 2, plaintiffs must prove the racial minority in question is politically cohesive. The Trump administration had filed its own brief echoing Morrell's argument. We told you that. Liz Morrell, the U.S. Solicitor General John Sayer, argues the standard for determining whether a district complies with the Voting Rights Act is flawed and should be altered. The so-called Gingell's test, which arose from a 1986 Supreme Court ruling, sets the standard for determining whether the election district meet federal standard. And they have outlined in the article about what is the Gingell's test, as created by the Supreme Court in 1986. The Trump administration also argues that plaintiffs seeking judicial relief from a violation of Section 2 should be required to take the state's political motivations into consideration when offering alternative districts. For example, this could include drawing a district that not just to keep an incumbent in their district, but to ensure that the incumbent victory. Michael Lee, senior counsel for the Brennan Center for Justice, a progressive organization that follows redistricting issues throughout the country, said requiring plaintiffs to meet a state political goal is among the Trump administration's boldest proposed modification to Section 2 framework. Effectively, this is asking SCOTUS, which is the Supreme Court, to gut the Voting Rights Act without saying you are gutting the Voting Rights Act, Lee said. In addition to the Trump administration, 16 Republican state attorney generals have signed on to briefs in support of Morrell's argument in the Khaled case. In the filings, Republicans argue in favor of a colorblind approach, which states should not consider race in redistricting process at all. Attorneys with the ACLU and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. I want to give you a side note, people. I talked to someone, Miss Torrey from the Legal Defense Fund out of New York, and they promised to come on the show today, which they're not on, or tomorrow on the Open Line radio show, and I haven't reached back. The problem is this, because these people want to go on these mainstream media outlets and reach people who don't really give a damn about the concern, instead of coming on progressive shows to understand. And I'm going to go back to this article and make reference to it, but we're going to get Brother Keith on the line. I think he's on the line right now. Good morning, Brother Keith.
Good morning, brother Jay. Good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning. Now, I'm gonna take that graphic down right quick, brother. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, doing awesome, doing awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know if you heard my rendition of the reading of the Louisiana Illuminator article, which is a great place to get your news and information and to tell people what is really going on. Uh, this is so crazy that we have to get all of that stuff this damn late in the game, brother Keith.
correct, correct, man. The court system is at an all time high of gutting the Civil Rights Act,
Hmm.
cutting back on Voters Rights Act. The government is on an all time high of trying to railroad
Hmm.
United States citizens. To tell you the truth, President Trump is at an all-time high
Yeah.
of rolling out a white supremacist scheme, you know?
Right. Right. Okay. I was just changing the background. Go ahead now. Hmm.
Yeah, the conservatives, the conservative views are not um what the country was built on, you know. And
Yeah,
brother
Keith.
Jay
So that's the big issue today. And I want to put this picture front and center, and I want you to analyze that for me, if you care to analyze this. It's amazing the players in the game. Can you hear me, brother Keith? Can you still hear me?
yeah,
Okay, it's amazing the players in the game that we have concerning this. Uh, you see the people right here at the center of the screen. You got Liz Morel. I'm gonna move it over. I'm blocking your way a little bit. We do things on the fly here on Real Talk and the Open Line. But okay, Keith, we seem to lost Keith for a minute. But Keith, if you see the people who are at the center of all of this controversy, uh, you got Liz Morel, you got Kevin Roberts, you got Jeff Landry, and Nancy Landry. Oh, you back, Keith? Okay. I'm gonna bring you back. I'm gonna bring you back online. Let's see. Okay. Where is Keith? Where did he disappear to? Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna try to pull you up, brother Keith. Just give me a second there for box 2. Okay. You went off again, brother Keith. I think we lost Keith again. But again, these are the people who are actively working so hard to deny you the right to have your proper representation in Congress. Therefore, when Congress vote to shut down, when Congress vote to deny benefits for you, these are the people right here, the ones you go sing and dance and invite to your barbecue cookout, the ones on screen, brother Keith. Hopefully I'm gonna move the graphic again for the last time, and we'll get it right. We'll get it right, brother Keith. All right, there.
yeah.
These are the people who actively working against your right to exist. So I mean, I always say, brother Keith, what is the end game for those who push white supremacy? What is the end
Correct.
game? You
And,
know,
and,
it's very
and
hard for me to say that, Keith. Some people say, "Oh man, you crazy." Don't say stuff like that. My prediction: the end game is to eliminate us from off the face of the earth. I mean, it can't be. I mean, you see with the ICE agents what they're doing, and you saw what they did in Chicago when they went to that apartment building, knowing there was the majority of people in there were black. Brother Keith, yeah, you better
this
hide your
is
face
them.
today, brother. You better
This
hide.
this 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 is this is them, brother Jay. This is them. This
Yeah.
is them.
Yeah.
This is how they're walking around the ice
Right.
ages. You
Right.
can't see their face at all.
My prediction, they don't want to be identified. But you know they're missing the point because they could be identified. I mean, the technology today, you could have a mask on, and people still could identify you. The thing is, they could identify times and places they were at. You know, the Nazis. I think took a page from the Nazis. A lot of them were identified because of they didn't wear no masks and stuff like that in Nazi Germany. But if you out there committing an atrocity as an ICE agent or just because someone told you to do something, that don't make it right. You know, just because Stephen Miller told you to go and brutalize and beat somebody across the head with a billy stick, or to zip tie a young black child and parade him in the middle of the night in the cold air of Chicago and put them buck naked in a van, that does not make it right, Kevin Roberts.
Correct. It does not make it right. They got Louisiana ICE detention, according to Governor Landry, is surrounded by the backwoods swamps. The how you say that? The biggest alligator, the longest crocodile,
Yeah. Yeah, they
and
might have went and got a few crocodiles and threw them in the water. You never know with these people,
but
you know.
but brother, you got to look at the instinct as to what became the unnormal and the new normal. The unnormal and the new normal is when you heard of it being legal, it being legal to just snatch somebody off the streets, or it being legal, you're putting alligators in swamps. So if somebody escaped from the jail system, the alligators is there to take care of them. I mean, ain't that normal? That is not normal. Is it
No.
normal?
No, I mean, these people always had that in the back of their mind to do. You know, they just didn't know how to implement it. I mean, again, I want to go reference to harken to the poster because, you know, sometimes we put a lot of work in things we thinking about to make a logical a logical opinion, not opinion, a logical situation that we're talking about to illustrate a point. You know, these are, you know, Kevin Roberts. I mean, they all Kevin Roberts, Nancy Landry, and Liz Morel. They all went to Lafayette High. I think so. Don't quote me on that, but most of the Wikipedia information say they went to Lafayette High. So Lafayette High
Yep, they all
produces some great people, you know,
yes,
and most of them went to the UL Raging Cajun. We proud Raging Cajun supporter. They are some proud Raging Cajun people. So this is the stuff that, you know, when we go to the Zydeco dance and we go to the Creole rendezvous, whatever, we got to think about the people that we want to go snuggle up to and grab. You know, we could dance with them, we could party with them, but guess what? They making legislation to end you as a black person in the United States.
can they want to cancel. They want to cancel civil rights. They want to cancel human
Yeah,
rights. They
in
want
the
to
process of
cancel.
canceling civil rights, they cancel you. They cancel you. You don't have access to medicine. You don't have access to places. And look, I'm not for. Some people was writing on one of the other podcasters saying that Trump is a segregationist. Hey, I understand you don't have to go to the same church, you don't have the same grocery store, whatever, but taking taxpayers' money from black folks and don't let them have access to go down the highway without the cops stopping them and hitting them across the head with a billy stick, that's you know, that's an issue. Because when you go down that road of being a complete segregationist, you have to have your own country, your own stores, your own hospitals, your own everything. And if you don't have that, you can't go to theirs, and because you saying you want to be a segregationist. My thing is, if you're gonna take tax dollars from black folks, you need to have them. They need to have equal access, We could be separate but equal. Is that possible? Except for the ones who have all the money might be Caucasian. Think about that.
Yeah, correct, brother. Correct. And look, we got a lot of we got a lot of people running around here. Just I don't know if they scared to speak out, scared to speak up. But when you start talking about some of the things these conservative and white supremacist ways of government has become, you got a lot of people, man. Stay off of that level. Don't talk about it. No, I don't want to hear nothing about that. Let's not talk about that, man. Let's just leave well enough alone. Let's roll with the flow. You don't hear, you don't. Some of them don't want to talk about it. I don't know if they scared of it, or if they dealing in it, or if they have or if they have some kind of interest brought into it. But some of them, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about the laws that's being put on the books. They don't want to talk about the bodies that's being found hanging in trees. They don't want to talk about the bodies that's being found in swamps. They don't want to they don't want to talk about how the court system is set up to enslave black people. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about
Also, they don't
how
want to
there's
talk about. I'm looking at a report where it says over 300,000 jobs were lost between February and April 2025. Most of them were black women. Black women losing those jobs and so forth. They don't want to talk about that either. They rather talk about whether or not we're gonna get some funding for a new type of license plate on our vehicle next year, and to commemorate. And what I see around Lafayette, and we just put up the picture of the Lafayette MAGA crowd that's at the head of this whole Supreme Court deal, right? Right. But you know what? I seen this weekend a lot of more self-aggrandizement by these groups in Lafayette, these black groups that celebrate themselves and give awards to themselves every year, and a couple of elected representatives getting the same awards they've been getting for what I'm trying to, just for existing. But yet we see what the MAGA crowd is doing. They before the Supreme Court. But yet our brothers, we on a red carpet in a nice place and with tablecloths and dressed up nice. But the MAGA crowd is before the Supreme Court. Is that amazing? Our priorities that we have, Keith. Maybe some of us just want to exist and live in peace and don't worry about nothing else. Maybe that's what it is.
correct. Maybe that's what it is. You know what they want to talk about is building big festival spaces. Let's go out and eat some crawfish.
Yeah.
But they don't want to they don't want to indulge in the system. They don't want to indulge in the current system. They want it to roll, high roll, brother Jay, and that's just high roll.
Yeah.
But it's time to start bringing out these racial policies, practices, and I'm gonna say racial. These white supremacist views of value, this evilness. Then
But
some of them call themselves Christianity. Some
but
of
you
them
know,
call
Keith.
themselves Christianity.
Keith, I think we the only few shows besides Brother Dal Muhammad, Mr. Kevin, Brother Wallace, and even Mr. John Best had a good show the other night talking about white supremacy. We are the only shows. Maybe on AOC we could use those words, white supremacy, but the mainstream media. Again, I reiterate that people who turn on KLFY TV 10 or even KATC, and my thing is this. Next Star Media Group, the people that launched the so-called anti Jimmy Kimball, and whether or not you like Jimmy Kimball or not, he was dealing with basically exposing and ridiculing the president and the MAGA crowd, right? Next Star launched that protest or whatever pressure on the FCC and Brandon Carr and all of them, Brendan Carr, whatever his name is, to get rid of free speech in the sense of getting rid of Jimmy Kimball, the other ones, Colbert, and so forth, right? But Nexstar owns KLFY TV 10. Nexstar Media owns what's this, News Nation, right? They advertise themselves as a, or not for both either side, whether they like MSNBC, they're not like Fox News. Come on, people, they're more like Fox than anybody else. You got some couple of rejects. One of the persons who used to be the anchor for CNN, what's his name? His brother was the mayor, was the the governor of New York. You got people like that running things, and they lie to the people and say we mainstream, we middle of the road, and so forth, and they're not. So this is the media operation that we consume in South Louisiana. We consume that type of media. We want to turn on Channel 10 and look at the feel good stuff of the person who always pushing have a plate of this, have a plate of that, eat this in the morning, and some of that old style John Kennedy type rhetoric coming out of our mouth. If that dog don't hunt, shoot him in the leg or something like that. That kind of crazy stuff, man. That make got eating some candy this morning. That really mess you up.
Correct, and that's what it is, brother Jay. They don't they don't want to look at the big picture. They don't want to put out all what's going on. They not even report. They're not even reporting on these incidents that's happening. You don't even see it. You don't even see it on local news. The incidents that's happening. You don't see News Nation talking about the the people they've been found hanging at HBCUs, or black people that have went to all white, what used to be all white college, and they're going to that college now. They hanging them. You don't see it on News Nation. You don't see on News Nation the people they found in the swamp in Texas. You don't see those things. You don't see that on mainstream media. They're barely talking about it. You got to either go to New York Times or you got to read about it. You don't see that on mainstream media. Um, and it's just a different way. It's just a different way of life now. I guess white supremacists is a new normal for a certain culture and a certain group. White supremacy is the new normal. It's the new normal, and they're
Yeah, and I'm,
bringing it
I'm
back,
and I'm
they're
looking
bringing it
at
back. The
this
40s,
this
50s, and 60s.
argument about Jeff Landry wanting to activate the National Guard. I don't know if you saw that.
Jeff Jeff Landry has been doing a lot behind the scenes. You hadn't been hearing him uh come out too much, but now he's starting to make his presence known. He has been doing a lot behind the scenes to push push that MAGA agenda, push push that MAGA agenda, push the national agenda. He's been doing a lot. He's been doing a lot for the administration. Matter of fact, the president the president talks about him real good. He's a very good
Right,
guy. He's a
right.
very good guy. Very beautiful person. And that administration has very beautiful people. So as the president put it. And he's been doing a lot behind scenes, kicking back on laws, pushing legislation that kicks back on civil rights. Louisiana have this case about to come up at the U.S. Supreme Court.
Yeah,
This case about
that's what we discussed with Roland Martin. That's what Roland,
uh,
and it has wide implications on whether or not that other congressional district will be able to keep the seats when it pertains to black majorities. You know.
And, and we know Louisiana just got a minority
Right.
majority district, and that district may be gone.
Right.
Senator Fields may be no more.
Right.
You know?
There's other implications. I mean, just when at the end of Obama terms, that black folks thought they had turned the corner a little bit as far as when they deal with issues concerning law enforcement, police accountability, because they were coming up with all kind of laws. We had more protests. We had some inkling around the corner that we could start having holding people accountable for when they abuse the rights of people under the color of law. And this these people have were sitting back in the cut, like they say, and planning all of this stuff. The Kevin Robinson, so because they knew
Yeah,
that these
yeah.
laws was that
Behind,
we was gonna implement was gonna hurt us. Well, hurt them.
but behind the scenes, they've been doing it behind the scenes, and then they're pushing uh uh they're pushing what's the word I'm looking for what's the word I'm looking for? A martial law type government. They're pushing it, and they want to head that way. And what shows you that they want to head that way is when you start putting troops on the street that are trained to help in a disaster, or trained for storm. When you start putting these people, when you start putting the military on the streets, that's a martial law act. That's a martial law type of government, and that's what the president is pushing towards. That's what the mega politicians are pushing towards a more martial law type government. And a lot of people think it's for one person to keep power, or for one person. No, it's for a certain set of society who are evil driven, hate based, uh, for them to have the authority to keep pushing their plan, keep pushing the 2025 project.
Right, right, right.
Right.
And
And I know, Brother Jay, I'm saying some harsh things, but you got to call it for what it is, and you got to put it out for what it is. They can't do that on corporate radio. They
no,
can't do it.
no.
So it takes platforms like Real Talk, the different shows, to put it out plain and simple, the way, and call it for what it really is, the way it really is.
Yeah, yeah,
Can't keep sugarcoating it, because they're not sugarcoating it.
yeah.
The righty rights are not sugarcoating. They're not sugarcoating what they're doing. They're putting it out there.
And as it relate, Brother Key, to the laws on the book, and that's the reason they want to roll back everything, and that's why that fight is so important to them on in front of Louisiana. I'm talking about the MAGA crowd, the MAGA agenda, the Project 2025, and not all of them are MAGA stream. All of them is corporatists. People want to push the corporate agenda that believe that corporations should run things, and some of it is more capitalist people who are rich, and they want a few people running things and have one person they could control because they give them all the money, and that's what it is. So you got races, you got the fight where the races, you got the corporatists, and you got the rich oligarch people who want to run things, and everybody else be damned. And they want to change some of the laws. So that's why, I put this post today, as from Ben Crump, saying today would have been George Floyd's 52nd birthday. He should be here celebrating with his family, but his life was stolen from them. George's legacy lives on in the global fight for justice. That's from Ben Crump. And again, that's why they want to change these laws. That's why that fight is so important in front of the Supreme Court. You know, But I don't think our people in Louisiana gets it. They gets it. They only get it when it's late. You know.
Yep. They only get it when it's late. And what I got to do, I wanna also say, commemorate George Floyd. Happy birthday, George. He would have been 52 today. 52 today. 52 today. They don't want to push that. They don't want to push the George Floyd Civil Rights Act. They don't want that. They don't want that. And George Floyd and Brother Jay, I know I'm venturing off into something else. I'm getting off topic, but George Floyd is only one. It's only one. How many others? How many other when you can't count them on your hands and you have to ask how many others have there been? How many others?
We
It's a sad, sickening
we have
time
locally
in
we have Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge. We got local in Lafayette, Traper Pellerin. So we have so many that it's countless. And
countless.
this is what the fight for in front of the Louisiana Supreme Court. It's not just that redistricting thing. People think it's just for Cleo Field's seat. No, it's for more than that. It's MAGA having more power, or not even MAGA, the corporate people, the racist people who runs government, the people in the sycophants who's sitting in office running things while Trump decays in front of our eyes. Stephen Miller, the little wannabe Nazi.
Right.
That's the people who see these things, the celebration of George Floyd as a human being. They see that as a threat to their existence because they are the one out there doing evil.
And Brother Jay, they're trying to use the reverse psychology game. They're trying to play this reverse psychology game
Uh-huh.
with the American people. Um, the U.S. House Democrats and well, not the House Democrats, but the U.S. Democratic senators. The U.S. Democratic senators stalled a short-term spending package because in that spending packages, it was to take away health care, take away some health care, cut back some health care. The Democrats are the Democrats want to work on a long-term solution to keep the Obamacare and the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. And the Republicans refuse to even sit down and have a discussion about it. They refuse. So you hear the conservatives say the Democrats shut down the government, but the Democrats says we're not voting for your plan unless you're putting this in it, unless you're protecting the health care of the American people.
Yes, yes. I
You know,
firmly agree with you. And the government is still shut down also. We still got to deal with this. Uh, some people might lose funds for certain things or funding for certain things. We don't know how long it's going to be. Uh, some people say for a while uh, that they're going to have uh, uh, residual situations pop up where people the the funds being released once they get back, if they get back normal again, going to be a lag in people getting their funding. A lot of companies, a lot of private entities, and so forth. So also, Trump said that he gonna, while they shut down, he gonna do away with so-called liberal or democratic institutions that get funding from the government. So what do you mean by that? So locally, if he perceive and sends a note down to Jeff Landry that Smile Community Action Agency or the one in St. Mary, that they might have left leaning tendencies, like helping certain people of certain demographics, that they might cut the funding for Smile. They might cut the fundings for other organizations in the area. So that's another way of control. That's all. First of all, that's all illegal. All what he's doing is illegal anyway. You know, the question is, will there be some type of human rights trial? Will there be some truth and reconciliation committee after all that stuff? No, no, no. It won't be like that. But I tell you what, there should be some prosecutors in the next administration, whether they mainstream Republican or mainstream Democrat, to go after these people who are doing illegal things to people. Firing people
And,
for
and, and
wrong
let me
reasons is
say
illegal.
this. And let me say this, Brother J. President Trump. President
I
Trump.
don't call him a president. I call him a racist,
President,
corrupt idiot.
yeah. But Trump, Trump, say like Shamar Trump um have done the most evilest thing you can ever do. You can ever do to people, and then children have them. He fired everybody in the Department of Education for special education.
Right,
That means all the disabled kids.
right.
He fired everybody that work in that department to see that these disabled kids get the proper education, get the proper um assistance, get the proper are treated fairly in the education system. He fired every last person in that department.
Yes, yes.
So
And
how evil can it be?
he put in place some
How
crazy
evil?
people.
Linda McMahon.
I mean,
1, 2, 3. You know, Linda McMahon tapped the bottom of the wrestling ring
yeah.
when somebody was pinning somebody.
Somebody,
Now,
but
Linda
I don't
McMahon,
know if that was her son-in-law, Triple X, or one of them. They body slammed her, and again, this is Trump's America with 3 Ks. This is that kind of stuff he likes. Some crazy stuff like that.
and on his campaign, not his campaign, but when he first got in, his uncle. I meant not his uncle. His nephew said that. His nephew said that. Trump nephew said, I called him and asked him for some help with my disabled child, and he told him those people like that, people that disabled, the country don't deserve to spend no money on them. They need to be put on an island and to die.
Yeah. Oh, and making reference to Linda McMahon, I'm sorry, people, all you wrestling fans out there, not Triple X, Triple H. I'm sorry. I used to watch that stuff so much in my, just watching it, I felt like I was body slammed. But yeah, Linda McMahon, she was put there just to cut things in the Department of Education.
Got it.
Yeah, that's all it was with her.
Look, his speech. His speech, the speech he gave when he put Linda McMahon in there. I told Linda do a good job, do a great job working yourself out of a job.
Right, right.
It's so it's just crazy, Brother Jay. And I know we got a few minutes left, but
Yeah, we
it's
go. No, we
getting
go till 11:30 on this show. We go till 11:30
yeah.
Central Standard Time.
Yeah, I'm thinking about another show. But yeah, it gets so crazy. It's so crazy, Brother Jay. Then Pam Blondie.
Yeah.
Pam Blondie. Um, she had her hearing in front of the Senate,
Mm.
and every answer she had didn't make any sense. She didn't know what she was talking about.
Right. Right.
Then she insulted she insulted the senators.
Mhm.
And brother Jay, is if the Trump administration is here to stay for a long time, and these MAGA politicians are here to stay for a long time, I'm telling you, the country's heading in the wrong direction, and the country is heading for trouble. It's heading
Yeah.
for trouble.
Yeah.
And I hope the country can back it up when they get in trouble. The country is heading for trouble.
Yeah. They want to open a couple of chapters of the Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA out here in Louisiana. Someone making reference to Lafayette High, or one of those high schools in making a chapter, Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA. That wouldn't. First of all, people, I want those who are listening, that wouldn't be no surprise. That certainly would be no surprise to me. People got short memories, Keith. Even the so-called other talk shows on corporate media got short memories, very short memories. Because if you remember, we had a sitting city court judge who was caught on camera referencing somebody's color, black, and using a certain N-word.
Roaches.
And remember that
Roaches.
controversy on that? So you people know where you're at in South Louisiana. Know where you're at. When you think you're coming
Yeah,
down here for
no.
Festival International, it's great. I mean, if people treat you and they don't round you up like ice or nothing like that, well, come and party,
And
true.
look,
But remember where
and you
you're
better
at the
stay,
end of the day.
and you better stay in your lane. Because if you step out your lane,
Yeah,
if you step out your lane, you're in trouble. You better stay in your lane.
right, right,
You know,
right.
you got to know where you're at, and you got to know this. Stay in your lane, because
Well,
you will get in
we
trouble.
still got to put the pressure on the elected black leadership because guess what? All of this stuff with the Supreme Court in the United States Supreme Court that emanates from Louisiana is about black representation, right? Cleo Fields, Troy Carter, and so forth, right? Right. But guess what? Even the local officials, you advocating, y'all probably gonna be at. They got some kind of listening and watch party in Lafayette concerning the Supreme Court case tomorrow. I saw a flyer on it. The thing is this: you're advocating for blackness to achieve a certain level of representation, right? But guess what? You don't want to put the pressure where the pressure should belong. You don't want to talk about it. What's the purpose? Sometimes Mr. Kevin makes an excellent case about, Mr. Kevin. We ain't talking about Kevin Robb. Mr. Kevin, we got this show on AOC, Defending Our Community. He makes an excellent point to criticize some of these people, Keith, because they're not doing anything to advocate for the issue. They rest on their laurels. And people know what they rest on your crown. You rest on what you did. And that's it. I got elected, so therefore I'm a celebrity, so you should pay homage to me. They are no better than the Trump administration. Or some of our black elected officials do not want to be pushed to talk about the issues. Right now, with this Supreme Court case, they should be calling out these MAGA supporters here in the Lafayette area, the Blake Migas. But you want to, you got a state representative, what's his name, from New Iberia, Bryant, Representative Bryant. You should be calling out Blake Migas instead of going break bread with him for being a MAGA supporter. You're not going to get anything done by just playing pussy with these people. They can put you in your place, give you a few dollars or a few incentives to be something else to your people, and that's it. All these state representatives we have from the so-called Acadiana, again with 3 Ks, delegation, y'all should be pushing these MAGA elected officials that you serve with to denounce that stuff. That's some bad stuff that they're doing to people of color around the United States. And you could just say for how long this not affecting us down here. Sooner or later, if it becomes the issue, becomes the standard would be here in South Louisiana. Remember Nazi Germany? It started off slow. Remember the burning of the Reichstag? You know, I call it the Charlie Kirk incident in the sense that they wanted to rile up people to go against people of color, even though it was their own people did it. You remember the night of the long knives? Trump had his own people killed by the newly formed secret police. The SS killed the brown shirts. People don't remember all these things, and Trump is following the playbook. Well, no, not Trump. Kevin Roberts and all of them, and all these architects of Project 2025. Straight up playbook out of Nazi Germany, and people don't want to see the logical part of it. They just want to say, let's do the boots on the ground and sing together and go downtown Lafayette. Keith.
And Brother J, this is about to be a the most historical thing ever done in history. And it can go either way. It can go either way.
Right.
The state of Louisiana could be known for pushing a very antiqual equal rights ordeal, or you can be known for pushing the most antiqual white supremacist evil drivenness ordeal. Now we gonna let our community liaison, our um senators, the Black Caucus, all them decide what what we gonna do. Are we gonna fight back after this thing go through? If it go through the wrong way,
If it goes through, we might just celebrate,
or
put on a tux and go on the red carpet at one of the, let's say, one of the convention centers and have a party. That's what we do. That's all we can do. They know we do. That's what we do. And we turn around, we gonna give an award to each other. Some group, we got call some group over there, and we could say, hey, let's all give some awards to each other. That's what we do. We don't do anything else but give awards to each other.
correct? Or we going to sit back and fall on the rights, man? This if understand this, brother G. If this is overturned, just think if this is overturned, they saying, well, you can't have this, and it's nationwide. Just think of them telling you. Just think if they say we want to pass a law where we can tell them not to. You can't vote for this, or you can't vote for this issue. That's what that opens the door to. That's what that opens the door to. To you can't vote for a representative. That's what this case opens the door to. Gutting the Voters' Right Act, and that's all this these MAGA driven people are on. They're on gutting anything that gives any other culture, any other ideology, or any other organization authority. We want to cut it. We want to take away some of their authority, and that's this is where the country is moving towards, locally, nationally, and on the state level.
And
And on the state level.
Key, you could have a choice. You could vote for Blake Miguez. You know, you could vote for
Yeah.
him, and you could take some photo ops like some of our local politicians like to do with him. You know, while he continually ramp up his MAGA rhetoric, because I think they're trying to push him to run for the United States Senate seat against Cassidy, saying, you know, Cassidy is weak. Anybody who saw a semblance of understanding or even, let's say, a logical thinking, they're against, you know. Again, people, pay attention to what is going on here in South Louisiana as it relates to the national position when it comes to voting rights and other things. Let's see. Okay. Sooner or later, I think Brother Keita be back. Okay. All right. Okay, we're gonna remove this graphic right here. I think y'all tired of seeing those faces right there. I'm gonna go back to harken back to some more Latasha Brown of Black Voters Matters, and let her give you a little bit more of the concern concerning the upcoming argument before the United States Supreme Court.
Nola.
Hey, Latasha, it's always great to see you. And you literally always bring all the passion and all the facts. And I'm just always in awe of you. But here's my question. With everything that we're seeing happening around the country, with special elections, special mayoral elections, congressional elections, where Democrats are performing really well, even to the degree where a Trump pollster is worried about this shutdown, especially the messaging around healthcare, saying that it could potentially cost Republicans 10 to 15 points in 2026 if they're not on the right side of this. So here's my question. Are you seeing a shift on the ground the way that we're seeing a shift in these other areas, you know, with messaging that seems to be going a little bit more in a positive direction? We're seeing it in the results in these special elections, but on the ground in Louisiana, where I'm from, what are you seeing? Is any of this landing there the way that it is in other places for people to really get out and to get involved and to understand what's at stake?
So let me say this. One, thank you. Great seeing you, Nola. Let me say this. I think that there's no way that you are a living, breathing human being with any sense of intelligence and not know what time it is. You know, one of the things, Black folks are real perceptive. When don't nobody have to spell out racism to you. You see it, you smell it, you feel it, you know how it feels, you know what it looked like. So at the end of the day, in all honesty, look at what's happening right now. We're seeing it. We're seeing what happens when there's this concentration, this attempt to consolidate power. And it's not in the same frame. It may not be in the same frame as political parties. I heard my brother Carr, and I understand exactly where he is. The bottom line is we're so beyond that. This isn't about a party fight. This is really about a power fight. And I'm going to tell you, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I am going to align myself with whoever is going to protect me from those that seek to hurt me, harm me, and kill me. And so that's a strategic decision. That's a strategic decision that Black folks have always had to make and will continue to have to make as we're building what we need to build to be self-determined. And so I think it's really important in this moment that as I've been talking to folks, I've not talked to anybody that does not know what time it is. Matter of fact, what's interesting is as I've been walking in grocery stores, I get stopped on the streets and people will say, what is I need to do? What do I need to do in this moment? And so I think I think that there is a sense of urgency in community, not at the level that I think we need to see it, because I don't want people to move out of fear, but I do want people to move in a way to recognize that our best chance of beating this back has always been we've leveraged our collective power. We've got to use our economic power in a very different way. We can't fund folks who are actually working against us. You shouldn't be getting nothing from Target right now. and a whole list of other people, and you'll hear more about that. But the second thing is when people are trying to take our political power, you can't just poo-poo that. We've got to really be able to organize ourselves and lift that up and spread the word. Some people, what I found is a lot of people don't know what is happening with this case right now, which is part of the reason I'm so glad that Roland let us talk about this on the show, that they don't realize that this case, because there's so many things that are happening, because the chaos is the point. That Trump and the administration are intentionally creating so much chaos and confusion right now that they believe that some things will get lost in the cracks. You got to pay attention, Black folks. You have to pay attention what is happening on us on every level. And if you individually can't pay attention to it, what you need to do is support the kind of organizations that are and the people that are on the front lines.
Greg Carr.
Thank you, Roland. And it's always good to see you, Sister Latasha. And one of the many things I really deeply value and appreciate about you is your ability to think and be and act in a creative fashion, which is in the best tradition and spirit of our ancestors. So my question builds on or extends and just kind of continues in the vein of the one that we just heard from Nola. And it is really two parts. One, you've kind of already answered, and that is how we not only organize but deploy to maximize our voting strength. We see our brother Gary Chambers in Louisiana giving us updates in terms of the early voting daily on what's going on in New Orleans. What's your sense, particularly in Texas, places like Texas, but maybe even ultimately Louisiana, in terms of how this gerrymander might backfire, even if they get everything they hope for, if we can maximize the voting strength that we have in the hyper gerrymandered districts, and perhaps even keep some of those districts with representatives that are more favorable to our concerns. And then the other part has to do with creative thinking around the lawsuit. It won't be with this case, but I'm thinking about the voting rights case out of Tuskegee many years ago, Gamillion versus Lightfoot, the landmark case around gerrymandering, because these races were so obvious that they had to say it was unconstitutional, but they didn't use, because there wasn't a Voting Rights Act then, they used the 15th Amendment. And I think it's been an underused amendment in the legal arguments we've made. And so the second part of my question, in addition to thinking about how we can maximize our voting strength, even in hyper gerrymandered districts, do you think our legal strategy should be more creative so that even if we lose the Voting Rights Act, we begin to build out some jurisprudence along the line of really reviving 15th Amendment legal arguments? And even when it relates to the Voting Rights Act, thinking about, of course, Section 2 being revised in 1982 to say you don't have to prove intent. It's not necessary now. Maybe even try to flip the script in some ways and make the legal argument that in doing this, this isn't colorblindness. What they are in fact doing is trying to create a legal status for whiteness, which is a form of discrimination on its own, a theory that we really haven't been arguing in.
But Latasha, before you answer that, go to my iPad, Anthony. This is the 15th Amendment that Greg mentioned. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Section 2, the Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Latasha, go ahead.
So, Dr. Carr, let me say this. I actually think that is.
Yeah, we're back with Brother Keith. He stepped out for a situation. Keith, you heard Dr. Carr and you heard others talk about what is going on, and I agree with Dr. Carr. We have to revise this whole thing and start thinking different outside of the box, dealing with these racist people, Brother Keith. I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah, Roland is right. Roland is right. That this is a domestic threat on Voting Rights Act. It's a domestic threat on Voting Rights Act. Domestic threat on civil rights. Domestic threat on human rights.
Yeah. So it remains to be seen. Again, as I said earlier, you wasn't on. I sent a tweet into the nationally syndicated show that originates on Radio 1, the Carl Nelson Show, And I brought up the picture I showed on the screen of all the major players in that particular case from Louisiana that gonna have a wide effect on all the United States concerning black representation, right? And one of the things I said, uh, we in this area, I said, I didn't really say everything to Carl, didn't read everything I said, but one of the things I said, we got to figure out a way to deal with these people on a local. I think the fight is local. All MAGA fight is local, Keith. Because if you don't call them out
Right.
before it's before you had an invitation of something, you'd stamp it out on the local level before it get broad all over your body or infect you, right? My thing is to call these people out. Call the mayor president out. Call the mayor of Broussard out. Call the mayor of New Iberia out. Or you supporting MAGA. Black folks support these people on the local level, but these politicians support the national movement. So we giving them their power to uplift their power base at the top.
Correct.
I mean, these same people you go to church. Some of these black Catholics in Louisiana, they go to church with the same people. They go to St. Edward's in New Iberia. They go to St. Peter in New Iberia. They go to Immaculate Heart of Mary in Lafayette. They go to the big church on College Saloon in Lafayette. We giving these
Correct.
people the power to hurt us, Keith, on a local level. So the fight got to be on the local level because the national stuff, if you got the national power base solid, the people at the
And
bottom are the one upholding everything.
And they calling themselves Christians. They calling it
Yeah.
Christianity. They calling it Christianity. It's in the religion. It's in it. It used to be church and state, separation of church and state. Now it's all white supremacists, and it's all through Christianity. They all add Christianity in it. They add Christianity in it, and we're heading up. All I can say is the country is heading on the side of history that we don't need to be on.
Well, you got some people shamefully don't care on both
And I
sides.
know they got a saying, and I know they got a saying, Brother J, that says history always have a way of repeating itself. And to me, we're heading in that direction.
Yeah.
We're heading in that direction, but when we get there, if we get there, it's gonna be a sad day. It's gonna be a very sad day, very sad moment.
Yeah, well, black folks need to understand and go look at the issue, what happened in Chicago a couple of a week ago with them, the ICE agents, which is not when you say ICE agents, they have evolved into something that's violating a lot of human rights, probably violating the Constitution of the United States under color of law. So many laws, state and local laws, they're violating. If people don't get their stuff together, they're going to see this in here in the streets of Louisiana and all of the cities. So when they want to go stamp out somebody, they know how to send somebody to stamp you out. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
And it's different. It's not. They're not identifiable. They're not identifying themselves. It could be someone just snatching somebody off the street. It's what it looks like.
I think we got a call, Brother Keith.
Good morning. We're gonna take that
Good morning,
caller,
caller.
Brother J. I'm gonna step out for a second.
I was just saw you on Facebook, actually, scrolling through, and
Yes, sir.
was enjoying the discussion.
How you doing, brother?
I only started watching good. How y'all been, man?
Man, you miss a day, you miss a lot.
I know. I purposely tune out every other day.
Yo.
Put my head back.
yes. Sir.
Come back in 90 things. What's the stock market doing?
Yeah. Let's look at that. Yeah. How about some sports, a new sport of watching the paint dry? To me, that's more interesting than all the things we talking about lately.
I mean, I was just thinking, man, like, there's just so much going on, and there's so much you got to do to kind of keep informed and keep up. And it just makes me pine for like the time that I mean, I wasn't even hardly around, I got my first cell phone a little out of high school, and, it was already starting to pick up. But man, I want to go back to like, I don't know, like what it used to be like. Then you're going to sound like
Fishing on the bayou or
yeah, he
something
wants
like
to go
that.
back to the but God, there's just so much you got to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
to keep up with everything, and I don't know, things just seem more complicated than ever, and yet we seem to have as much or even less control over any kind of policy. I mean, at
Right.
least like you were saying, at the local level, you can get on people and you can hope to make some change or even just get a discussion going. But at
Right.
the national level, man, it's just
It's
feels like we have.
Yeah, it's convoluted, man. It's just crazy.
I mean,
That's Brother Keith on the line
what-
also. Keith Falk.
brother.
Oh yeah, hey man, I saw you. Y'all looking good.
Yeah.
But so were y'all
on the
talking
local-
about gerrymandering, kind of? What you were? I was listening to
Yeah,
the discussion for a little while, but
well, the big case before the Supreme Court is centers on Louisiana, and they have far-reaching, according to many, far-reaching implications to do away with some of the provisions of the Voting Right Act. So basically, we're discussing.
yeah. Well, and it seems really, because that most recent Supreme Court decision, excuse me, that basically says, well, if you're gerrymandering for the party affiliation, that isn't covered under whatever the title is, or that doesn't have to do with race, and so that's fine. And for one thing, I mean, I would argue that the Democrats are somewhat better at making policy based on African Americans and that sort of thing. But I mean, only a little bit these days. But even so, if that is the case, if the public sees one party as being more in line with the approach toward liberation and actualization for African Americans, then how wouldn't that be? Essentially race-based gerrymandering by one step removed. It just seems crazy. And now you see, like you're talking about, all these different states, both states, with Democratic, majority and states with Republican majority, they're all trying to do it now. We're going to have the next few years of every state trying to do this same thing and basically curtail the political power of their opponents' voters.
Right. Well, you know what? You make an excellent argument. Why are you not arguing that case this week, Brother Jacob, in front of the Supreme Court? They couldn't pay you enough. They couldn't pay you enough.
I still, after the 20th time failing the bar exam, I decided I needed
20th time, man. Oh, come on now. They got some people did 50. Come on now.
Yeah. Oh no, I went toe to toe against a lawyer earlier in the year.
Yes, I heard about that.
I don't see how she had a legal degree. She didn't seem to know which shoe was her left shoe.
She sounds like a Trump appointee. You're wrong for that. You're wrong for that, Jacob.
Anyway, look, I'll hang up and listen up. But it's always good to see y'all.
Well, it's good to hear from you, man. And I want to say this. I love a Subaru. That's all I'm gonna say. We can't make no kind of we can't do no advertising.
To go buy it.
Yeah, we can't make no advertising for no particular car brand. Okay, I'm sorry.
You can state a fact and you can state your opinion. And my opinion is those Subarus are good.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Shahid ends up buying it back from you, then I'm going to buy it back from him. That thing is a great car.
Yes, sir.
Okay, look, I'll let you go, but y'all have a great rest of the show.
Thank you for calling, Jacob, man.
Soon.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Bye.
Bye. There you go. We had someone who probably could have argued the cases for or against. You never know who will call this show.
Jacob. Good talking to Jacob. Yeah, he probably could have argued the case, for again. Good talking
Maybe
to
I
you,
would
Jay.
accept the case more if Jacob won for the other side that we advocating against. Maybe I could accept that after that. But brother Keith, we got about I think we got 5 minutes left on this show. Again, we want to thank AOC Community Media for helping us produce this show, and also we want to let people know we'll be on tomorrow on the Open Line Radio Show. Again, information concerning KIEE 88.3 FM. They're supposed to be going to all digital format, and hopefully we'll get more information on it soon. We support all these progressive, not necessarily progressive, but truthful media outlets that give you the whole truth and nothing but the truth and honest opinion. We hoping one day we could get a call from Mr. Kevin Roberts, the architect of Project 2025. Maybe he want to debate us
Yeah.
on why we should not be negative on it. Go ahead, Brother Keith. Go ahead.
Yeah, hopefully we can get a call from him. And I know we time is winding down. Hopefully, but I gotta disagree with Jacob about locally. Maybe you could talk a little bit, but or have a little discussion. Locally, I mean, it's trickling down. It's the trickle down effect. It's just not happening in a major way locally. It's not happening in a major way. It's not happening not like it's never been done before, but actually locally, it's been set out and spelled out a
Right.
great divide, a great divide, and um, it has been set in place to follow that national trend, though.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna end with that, brother G. I'm gonna close with
Well,
that.
Brother Keith, I hope you be sitting in tomorrow for the Open Line Radio Show. Hopefully we have a different, slightly. It could be more along the same, but slightly different, and we have more
Yeah,
information to provide to the people, and maybe monitor that case being argued. The matter of fact, the case could be argued tomorrow, being argued. The major part of it tomorrow morning, and they should be finished by 11 Eastern Standard Time, and I don't think they're gonna have a decision tomorrow. But certainly people will be paying attention as people going to rallies in Baton Rouge and so forth. So, it is what it is, like they say.
yeah, it is what it is, and we're gonna see how it roll, brother J. It can mean it can have a beautiful ending, or it can have an ugly ending. It can put a stamp on either side of history.
Remember, the fight for justice is eternal. It's a never-ending battle.
Never
Just
ending.
like the universe, it's a never-ending. It's infinite. The fight for justice. All right, my brother. Catch you down the
All right,
line.
we